I think we're live. We're here. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to Saturday morning, talking about the next month, August 2021's forecast. I am Sandy Reevy, along with Susan Goodell. We are the two that started doing this years and years and years ago, and we call this Chatting with the Stars. And so we're going to dive in. I got a few little bit of announcements. Who's here? Who's here? I want to know. I saw that I saw all of you who've got the cheat sheets, and I'm assuming that you're here. Who else here? And while you type in, let's talk about the cheat sheets. Alex put Susan and I to another challenge, just adding more to our plate. And we said, boss. And she's asked us to do these cheat sheets. And we started them in January. And this one's about a 4 or 5 page in length. And we go through each one of the transits for the month, times where we've added on degrees and the sign it's in, the aspect that it has. And then I do a little wording of what I expect for this day. And then Susan does her little wording. So we have favorite days. I have conflict days. Leslie's here. Hi, Leslie. And where are you from? Deb. Hi, Debbie.
And I think the big thing about the cheat sheets is that it makes it a lot easier for you all to follow along and to, you don't have to be so furiously taking notes or trying to remember or doing anything. It's just there.
Right.
And so really it's about making it easier for you to learn more about astrology and learn how it, I mean, the real beauty of astrology for me anyway is being aware of how it affects us every day and just in our everyday life. And so if you understand the energy that the planets are putting out every day, it makes life easier.
Yeah, and to have the cheat sheet then, hey, Michelle, hey, Mary, hey, Amy, if you have this cheat sheet, you can add to it, and there's not a whole lot of what date did you say? What was that going on? What's the conflict day? Because we have all of the degrees, the number of degrees that it's at, and the sign. So, if you know your chart a little bit, especially if you know your sun, your moon, your ascendant in those degrees, then you can know if there's something, actually it's easier to figure out conjunctions. If you know the astrology, if there's an opposition or if there's a square or there's a trine. So we're helping you learn in a fun way a little bit of astrology. So learn astrology. Hey, Sheila's here. Hey, Sheila. I've got an announcement, a brand new announcement. But Susan, because we're talking about learning and teaching, do you want to talk
Yeah,
about the?
and remember, if you really want to get into it, Sandy and I have done several short webinars. I think most of them are like around 30 minutes, where we break down information about planet signs and houses, the real basics of astrology, so that you understand the natural character of the planets and how they like to behave. Um, the signs, the costumes that the planets wear when they are moving through the sky, and how their character shifts as they move through the sign to represent what that sign wants them, the part that sign wants them to play. And then finally, the houses, the stage sets where the planets move through the 12 houses, and each representing a different area of life that they are focused on as they move through those. So those are on intentionbeads.com and the astrology library. And I think set up to purchase in the sets together. So
Bundles.
it's easy, but easily digestible and fun. We had fun with it.
Yeah, we did. And astrology is a big, big lesson. And trust me, Susan and I still are learning. All astrologers are still learning, all. Um, but I also have an announcement I have just decided 2 days ago that I am doing a Mexico and I don't know what I'm going to call it, like a vacay treat, vacay treat, vaca treat, which means I'm going to do a retreat, but it's going to be a slash vacation. I think we all need a vacation after this last, year and a half period, and recreate recation. Oh, a recation.
Good word.
Oh,
I like
recation. I like that.
that.
And the idea is it's January 1st to January 8th. Now I know it's January 1st, but when I go to Casa Tara in La Ventana, Mexico, which means you fly into Cabo, and I have a car or a van pick you up and drive you about 2 hours north. So we're not going to Cabo San Lucas. You're flying in there. And some of you have been here with me. Susan has, of course, Alex has. And Alex can't make it this year. And so I looked at it that, oh, where then what do I do? And I kind of grew up and did my Leo rising thing. It's Leo season, and decided I can do this by myself. And I'm taking a very, 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 very small group, very limited. And we're going from, the January 1st to the January 8th, because I always get that first week, Saturday to Saturday, at this new eco-friendly resort in their clients of mine. So I was the very first one to run a retreat, and I always wanted that first Saturday of January to it's a 7-day retreat. So if you want more information, Alex is going to put, and really we don't even have a whole lot of information. We just have the dates. The price is coming. It's going to be very, very similar to the last time I did this last year. We got it in last year. It's going to be some astrology and a vacation, and we're going to have conversation. So I've already sold some spots, and it's very small. So if you're interested, she's going to put up the deposit if you're interested. And of course, if you want to hold your spot, you put the deposit in, $500. And if you decide not to go, you still do not lose that $500. You can purchase something else on the website. If you're interested, get information to alex@intentionbeads.com so we can cue you in when we have all the information and give you first dibs before we put it out there, because it's a very small group. All right, that's it for that. Okay, it took 7 minutes, not 5. Let's begin. And I want to do something. We're going to talk about August. So get your papers and your cheat sheet ready, your calendars. Alex is also going to put that in. If you have can quick get that cheat sheet for $10, print it, and then join us back here and catch up, because we'll be here for an hour. But I want to do a intro. It's the summertime. We're in Leo season, and we're outside a lot, and the sun is starting to fall. We're getting dark earlier than we were, say, a month ago. And I spend a lot of time on my rooftop deck and looking at the planets. And I just want to give a really quick 1-minute synopsis of the evening sky. This is what you can see in the evening sky right after the sun sets. You're going to see Venus. So Venus is the brightest planet that looks like a sparkling diamond. It looks like you're looking at a plane. And then you have to stare at it for a period of time to say, oh, it's not moving, but it's sparkling. It's right after sunset, right above and slightly to the left of where the sun has just left. Again, it's following the path of the ecliptic. Mars is there too, but really, really hard to see because it's just beyond the 15-minute mark from the sun where it goes into its heliacal setting. So Mars is easier to always see in the dark sky, but not this time of year. We have to wait for the sun to get out of this range. And
Oh,
Mercury.
wait.
Oh,
Talk
yeah.
about. So I've been going through some of the diaries that my grandpa kept daily for decades. And here's what he wrote on Friday, September 28, 1962. A rare treat in the evening as Venus, the evening star, was setting. Atmospheric conditions were just right to make it very large, bright, and twinkling.
Did
So,
anybody get goosebumps?
yeah, I mean, and out on the farm, it's really easy to see the stars. Sandy and I were talking before. I have too much light in the city, too many trees. She's lucky to be able to get up high enough to get above the trees and have it a little darker to be able to see everything.
Right. Mercury begins tomorrow, its synodic cycle. So we'll talk about the Cazimi that we're having tomorrow. Um, Mercury hasn't been seen in the night sky or in the morning sky for about 10 days, but now it moves from the morning sky coming up before the sun. It's making its pass in a superior conjunction through the sun and now coming up as an evening star. But we won't see Mercury until about August 15th or 16th. The night sky right now has Jupiter and Saturn in it. It comes up around 9 p.m. Of course, it's coming up in the east. All planets do. And it culminates, rises, culminates, gets to the top, and starts to fall and set at dawn. So check out the sky these nights. It's like, what in 1962 can be seen in 2021. And even I'm reading, some ancient techniques and ancient 1500 stuff that they're talking about these planets that they're seeing in the sky. So it's a phenomena that is our gift. So check it out. All right, let's start with, let's do a little recap on, I want to talk about Jupiter, really. Jupiter is the ruler of my sun because I'm a Pisces, and that Jupiter has moved back in to, this was on Wednesday, the 28th. Jupiter moved back in, its retrograde moved back into Aquarius, where it was in Pisces, where it rules for 2.5 months. So in May, if you remember, the hopeful, optimistic approach of all the mandates coming off saying that we don't have to wear masks, we don't need the limitation, we don't have to have those restrictions and limitations so much anymore, because Jupiter has gone into his own sign, left the confines of Aquarius where Saturn is, and Saturn rules, the limiter. Well, on Wednesday, Jupiter went back in. And so on Wednesday in the news, it has been mandated. Federal employees have to either get the vac, or they have to wear their mask and get weekly tested for COVID. So all of a sudden, these restrictions are coming back into play. So that's kind of a really good reflection of what Jupiter's placement is doing. There's some things that we need to finish up. Is there another booster? Is there some more rules and requirements that are at first it was like, hey, whoever wanted it to get it. Now there's more limitations on this new variant and things coming in. So interesting.
And note that Jupiter stays in Aquarius until after Christmas, December 28th, and then it moves into Pisces for next year. Like next year is Jupiter's Pisces year.
Yeah, and it stays there till May, then it goes into Aries, and then it comes back into Pisces. And actually, luckily, anybody that has late degrees, like 28, 29 of Pisces, that's where my sun sits, you will get Jupiter hit again for a second and third time, which is why I decided to do the Mexico retreat, right? We would be traveling on, well, I'm going to get there early. You can get there early too, by the way. If you want to, we'll have a New Year's Eve party on the 31st. But on the 1st, Jupiter will be moved into Pisces. So that gave me a really sense of hope that we can get to, and we can plan something and know that it's good to move about, right? The restrictions are coming off. Okay. Oh, right. Little catch up. All right. Let's go to Sunday, tomorrow, August 1st. And this is the superior Cazimi of Mercury moving into the sun's heart of the sun, where it's calm, clear, and collected. Now, when Mercury is moving in the Cazimi, when he's direct, because he moves Cazimi retrograde, direct, retrograde, direct, retrograde, direct. He takes turns in the Cazimi period. And when he's direct in the superior, he's very quick paced, very quick. And so in his direct phase, he's clear and quick and all fired up. But sit with yourself, because it really is a time to kind of welcome in a heads up of what this month is going to bring for you.
And that Cazimi is exact. This is Central Time. from 2:48 a.m. tomorrow until 3:27 p.m. So a really nice period of time when you're awake. And also pay attention, ask for and pay attention to dreams that you might have, particularly, coming into the waking period when Mercury is going to be Kazemi then. Now,
Let's share the chart, Alex. This is our chart of the month. So this is August 1st, tomorrow, Sunday, I've put it at 9:08 a.m. And remember, I'm central in Evanston, near Chicago. And Alex, mark the sun in Mercury up in the 11th house, everybody. We see it's at 9 Leo, 32 minutes. And that's the Kazemi, the exact Kazemi. So, which is really interesting because the 11th house is it's the house of good fortune, and it is the ruler. We see the rising sign of Mercury is Mercury, because it's the Virgo Mercury, and then so this is really good for community and career of self, how you step into. So you can do a little talismanic magic right around here. I've given quite a few of my clients this time to send things out because it's also Mercury hour.
yeah,
All right, that's enough for that day.
send my August newsletter out then.
Yeah. However, that's at 9:08, but by 5 o'clock that afternoon, I call it my conflict day. Conflict day part 2, because now this Mercury is making this opposition to Saturn. And because the opposition to Saturn, any planet that is making a hard aspect, a conjunction, an opposition, or a square to any of the 2 planets, which is Saturn and Uranus, that are in the square, they're in there. This is the one aspect that all the astrologers are watching for this year, 2021, will trigger some of that angst or anxiety of, that anarchy of Uranus trying to make changes, and that stable, stuck status quo that, the government or things that have been set in stone need to stay in stone. And Uranus is saying, no, we got to change the stone.
Could we
So
take a look at the chart again to see that T-square, Alex? Is that easy to do? Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so are you done?
Well, yeah. What I called about this is stopping the name of the law. We do know that because if Mercury's really moving quick paced earlier in the day, he's clear and quick and he's all fired up. By the end of the day, watch your speed, because someone is, and you may get in trouble. There's kind of that experiencing a delay or experiencing an outright no. You're not going to get too far. There's going to be some sort of Saturn saying, no, stop. And so here's the chart, Susan.
Yeah, and so just notice that we're still looking at the Mercury Sun in the 11th, but go straight across the chart to Saturn at 10 Aquarius. That's the opposition. And then Uranus and the Moon actually are square to all 3 of those planets. So there is some emotion that comes into play too, with Uranus being square to that Mercury Saturn exact opposition in the afternoon. So what Sandy said, with emotion, with feeling.
Yeah, and I really do. It's a Sunday. Sit with yourself. Imagine some of those really great ideas, because we got that clarity of ideation. But then we also had that Uranus saying, yeah, is this weird enough? Will this be able to have a breakthrough? And then Saturn says, hey, hold on here a minute. Let's make sure this machine or this ideation works.
Mhm.
So as quick as it is, you have to take it very slow and establish. So it's just getting all the information in, locking it in on your paper, and then working on it over a period of time.
Yeah. And I see the Mercury Saturn as being a good time to do editing. And actually, on your cheat sheet, we have to edit the word criticism. It's really spelled Criticism. So there we have it. Ha.
Yeah, it's so funny. And I did correct it after some people purchased it. So sometimes you're going to see it corrected and sometimes
Okay.
not.
All
All right.
right.
So anyway, this is conflict day 1 for me. And we move into really the next day on Monday the 2nd. We probably should pick things up here. And I go into conflict day part 2 because the sun now moves into that exact placement of opposition to Saturn.
Yeah.
So power standoff or power stand in. These both planets are in their own domicile. So they're equally strong. However, and they're literally opposing one another. They're up against each other. But here in this position, the sun is stronger in Leo because Saturn is retrograde. So Saturn is unable really to make his directives important. Now, anytime we get the opposition to a outer planet, where the outer planet's always in retrograde and it's always halfway through the retrograde cycle. So Saturn's halfway through the retrograde cycle. And this is about 70 more days for Saturn to start moving direct when it gets into a trine to the sun. But that's still 70 days away. So,
And from a mundane perspective, the sun represents leaders and Saturn is about challenges. And so tomorrow, you as a leader of family, work, whatever, could be faced with some uh, frustration, some challenges in terms of how you want to move forward, and that extends, to as high as you can imagine leaders go on the national and world level. So the sun opposite Saturn is, yeah, just presents some challenges, difficulties for everyone who is in charge of something.
yeah, so make sure of your power drives on Monday. Make sure what you're wanting to do is important enough to push through. Otherwise, wait a day or two.
Well, and in retrograde, it asks you to take a second look at, maybe a plan you had and say, is that really the right way to go? Let me reconsider that
Mhm,
with Saturn retrograde.
mhm. Always the second pass is it a temporary fix that I'm putting in or a permanent fix? You won't know until the final third pass. Yeah.
Right.
On Tuesday, the 3rd, we have Venus making a trine to Uranus. This is at 1:53 a.m. And this is make this your fun day. This is make this part of the day the fun day because if Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, Venus rules Taurus. So Venus in Uranus in an easy aspect of a trine is making it fun. Make quick changes to your menu of the day. Take off early, plan a date, buy something pretty, or exchange some ugly broken thing that you have at home, give it away. It's like permission is granted at this first part of the day.
Mhm. And Venus is always money to me, and trine Uranus, it's surprising money. But the trine makes it fun. So enjoy spending your money. Okay, so you go a little wild on whatever. Just make sure it's weird enough from the Uranus point of view, and beautiful enough from the Venus point of view that it's worth it. And other than that, have fun with it.
Except that at 9 o'clock that night, boom, we get another trigger. We get that Mercury is making a square now to the Uranus, and that's a surprise change. So I kind of must have known that you were going to talk about money because, like when I said earlier in the day, permission granted, credit cards, permission granted, go ahead and do that. But then by the end of the day, it's like, a surprise change that was abrupt because it's a square. So it's like, oh, was the credit card declined? Were you double charged? Something that you came back, it doesn't fit, or it's broken by the time you get home, or you can't take it back. It's like watch watch what occurs for this day, but you might have a kind of a reprieve, or a reversal from the morning. So
Yeah.
interesting day. I've got it as
Sure.
a trigger day.
Yeah. And Mercury about news, Uranus about surprises, surprising news. And it could be from any realm, but it'll go fast because, like Sandy says, Mercury is really cooking
Really
at the
fast.
moment.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
next day, no, on Friday. So note that we've been talking about Mercury and the Sun, Uranus and Saturn, and here we come again. So we've had Mercury opposite Saturn, Sun opposite Saturn, Mercury square Uranus. Now it's the Sun's turn to square Uranus on Friday. And um, this is where feisty Sun in Leo comes up against Uranus in Taurus that does not want to change. Even though it's Uranus, it wants to change, but really in Taurus, it really doesn't want to. Uh, and in a square, that could be just really hard to make those kinds of changes by the end of the first week of August. So, just remember that chart we showed at the beginning, and the Uranus Sun opposite Saturn square Mercury Sun opposite Saturn square Uranus, and the two fastest moving planets are making exact hits with both the outer planets all in the first week.
It's trigger week for me. I called it a trigger week. This day I've got stand in your own blank. In other words, fill in the blank. You could use, stand in your own crap, stand in your own whining, or stand in your own power. There is about being standing in your own flag, in your own shoes. It is a tense day, so use those quads to stand firm, because Leo, the sun in Leo, wants that bright, shiny light, and Uranus is trying to engage and change it a little bit. Like, you're too bright, or you're too hot, and so Uranus is trying to change that. So stand up. Then we go to Sunday, the 8th. This is the new moon day. New moon at 16 degrees of Leo. This is at 8:50 a.m. These are all Chicago times. And, this is a really interesting new moon because we have the moon in that squaring, the sun and the moon are squaring Uranus that we just talked about, and they're conjoining that Mercury. So there's this, like, another open your heart, the sun in Leo, the moon in Leo. The sun is welcoming the moon into his domicile. So it's about opening your heart just a little bit more. If it's not an inch, it's got to be a centimeter. Don't close it. Yes, it might be frightening and scary that, that you're being a little bit more vulnerable here. But, this is where I say, you're up to the challenge to do this. Like, eat yellow, drink yellow, pee yellow. Okay, one. Wear yellow, see yellow, carry yellow, be yellow. And if you don't like yellow, wear gold.
Gold, yes, I like gold. And new moons are always about intentions, and in Leo, you want to align your intentions with the sign of the moon, of the new moon, and so that is Leo. So make intentions about being bold, about saying, no, this is what I want, and this is why, and to hell with everybody else, I'm doing it. So, and I love the part about eating and wearing yellow.
That's what I'm doing today. Well, I'm doing my whole Leo rising because we're in Leo season, everyone, as you know. And I know I've got some Leo risings here with us. Let's hop to Monday the 9th. And we've got Venus making the opposition to Neptune. And I call this dump on canvas. Venus represents art and relationships, beauty, that type of thing. But it's opposite the planet of inspiration, or the planet of water. So wants to dilute things. It can also be the planet of illusion, right? And doubt. But here it's put your art of your heart on paper in order to step back to understand maybe what you need to really see about your attitude, It's like if you can't even understand or you need interpretation, it's really awesome to do art interpretation with a friend. And, just to say, hey, what do you see in this? I love that when we did that when I had an in-person events. So there can be interesting interpretations that are coming out that you don't even see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. And, you know, you can count on me to say that money dissolves when Venus is opposite Neptune, because Neptune is the great dissolver. And actually, I'm in preparing my market newsletter. I've got the 9th of August as a potential high for both the S&P stock market and as well as Bitcoin. So, and that's just based on transits to those markets' natal charts. And when you throw in the mundane transit of Venus opposite Neptune, um, then I think it adds to the potential for a potential high in those markets.
And then the next day, Tuesday the 10th, we have that Mercury making that opposition to Jupiter. Now these guys in the theme of Monday are always opposite anyway. So this is now to stretch. Opposition is like stretching out. So stretch what you learned yesterday on that Monday when we were talking about that Venus. It almost sounds like you're getting ready to frame it and put it on a wall. It's like, that what individual power can you lend to others for new growth? It's like to be that inspiring, what you didn't know you could inspire today is like stretch it, say it, say it.
And I think it's time to take a look at previous statements, that particularly the grandiose ones, because Jupiter is retrograde. To say, okay, did I say something that was really too much
Mhm.
in whatever way that might happen for you? Um, do I need to pull that back a little and say, oops, sorry, didn't mean to go that far? Um, we'll see.
And then on Wednesday, the 11th, we have Mercury ingress, which means moves into the sign of Virgo. Now, this is his domicile and exaltation placement. So it's time to organize and tidy up from that busy summer of all those visitors that you've had. And hopefully they're gone.
Yeah.
But Mercury, this is now Mercury is Venus is already in Virgo. And now Mercury's coming in to organize. So this stays here for Mercury's moving fast. So Mercury will stay here for about less than 20 days. So maybe 16.
Mhm. So has always been kind of my favorite time of year. I loved getting new school supplies, and Mercury moving into Virgo is like the perfect day to do that. Oh, good. I get new pencils. I get new pens. I get new paper. I get new notebooks. Oh, I can hardly wait.
Okay. Miss Capricorn,
I know.
Miss Pisces doesn't think of those things.
It's horrible, isn't it? Anyway, and if you want to talk with me and Sandy, that is the night that we have Chatting with the Stars readings for a couple hours available.
Later on that night, we have that Venus making a trine to Pluto. And, it's easy to profess how you feel. Just say it and then show it. This is just profound ease of expressing love. You've got money here?
Oh yeah, I've got money. Venus trine Neptune, big money, big.
Well,
Um,
it's trine Pluto.
oh, trine Pluto. Sorry, I can't read my glyph. Um, yes, big money. Venus trine Pluto.
Sunday, the 15th. Now, Venus moves out of Virgo just as Mercury gets there, moves out of Virgo and moves into her own sign of Libra. So really, this is at 11:30 p.m., just in time on that Sunday for a good night's sleep and to wake and feel refreshed for the next 3 weeks of beauty, ease, and togetherness.
Mhm.
So it's not my favorite, but I do love it.
Yeah, and peace, man. Um, Venus moving into Libra.
Shelley likes the school supplies thing too.
Yay, Shelley.
Yeah. So now we move on to Wednesday, the 18th, and we have Mercury making a conjunction with Mars. So this is this is a not my favorite day. It's not my conflict day, but it's like do what you think. Okay, when you put say when like when Mars transiting and hits Mercury, Mars gives Mercury that anger or that angst or that aggressive assertiveness. But when Mercury comes and hits Mars, that has a little bit of different attitude, which usually the term, as I just mentioned, we think, the term is think before you do. And today it's more about that, the thinker is do what you think, right? Do what you think. So this action takes and follows the thinking as his visitor. So interesting, this could be this could be nasty conversations, right? Because if everybody is doing what you think, so hopefully you're in a good sense around this. This is Virgo. So, but this is a very critical area of being telling people that you're not good enough or something like that. So be careful what you say, but do what you think.
And for sure, I'm on the beware of arguments and angry words when Mercury comes up to Mars. And in Virgo, it could be um, either really, really harsh criticism because Virgo is so picky uni, or it could be very planned out. You need to know exactly what you need to say and you say it. So, but always a potential Mercury Mars conjunct for, conflict in terms of um, the words that actually come out of your mouth.
Also we move to the next day, Thursday, the 19th. This is my favorite day. This is my favorite first part of the day because this is when the sun makes that opposition to Jupiter. And this is self-promote. So shy ones, raise your head and speak. Trust me, you can't overdo it. However, if you're not shy, watch too much feeling about your accolades, especially when you're trying to help others. And again, here we got the opposition that when the slow moving planets, when they're opposing the sun, they are the closest to the earth. So they are brighter for us in that night sky, which is why I mentioned both of those in the night sky, that Jupiter and that Saturn. But, I love Jupiter. Jupiter is trying to do the best that Jupiter can while he's retrograde and in a sign where Saturn rules and is currently co-present. But when the sun's shining on it, it's like, come on, Jupiter, let's get this done. This shine spotlight, right? So the fact that it's closest to the earth can maybe help us self-promote.
Yeah. And it's just a fun time. The sun and Jupiter opposition is about being optimistic, about the sun shining its light on Jupiter and saying, here, be happy, be Jupiter, be expansive, be optimistic. And so maybe we'll get some good news around that time about, the even with Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius that we mentioned earlier on about virus, vaccines, masking, whatever. Maybe we'll get a little pop of good news around the time that the sun is opposite Jupiter.
And then you want to take the Uranus retrograde?
Yeah.
Same day.
It's the same day. And this is a incredible shift in energy. Whenever any planet either changes signs or goes direct or goes retrograde, is just like it's a big shift in energy that we all kind of have to get used to. And particularly with Uranus is all about boom shift anyway. Uranus turning retrograde is, I think, going to be a whopper in terms of um, having to adjust to a new energy. And Uranus stays retrograde into mid-January. So for me, this is one, it moves retrograde in the sign of Taurus, which represents money and food. And so review changes in your life concerning money and food. For me in the markets, this is my top trading, astrologically important trading day for the entire month of August. I think the Uranus retrograde marks a shift in from generally friendly, bullish in the first half of August to more negative in the last half of August. And it's all because of the Uranus retrograde. Despite the sun opposite Jupiter earlier, I think that the stronger energy actually is Uranus changing direction.
Yeah, and this happens at 8:40 p.m. and it's like, if Uranus has been representing change in the, chaotic change, that does this mean the chaos slows to a stop, right? Because now I have to say that Uranus has been at 14 degrees of Taurus. So if your birthday is May 5th, where your sun is sitting at 14 degrees of Taurus, this is really hitting you. And I know I've got a very important person in my life that has this placement and is been offered really out of the blue opportunities, but all of a sudden they've stalled. This opportunity is stalled. So it's this Uranus stays at 14 since July 6th through October 3rd, while it's slowing down, stopping, pivoting, staying at the same location, starting to move forward in that 13 weeks, stays at one sign. And this is like, that's a big deal to have the planet that likes to move
Yeah.
in a sign that doesn't like movement in a place that can't move for 6 weeks, for 13 weeks. It's a big deal. So, it's like, anything, but what about stimulating new progressive information coming in, new inventive? It almost seems like for the next, what is that, 6 months, that we're going backwards on things that we had identified or invented. If it's the vaccine, do we have to do another one? Who else is going to outer space? We've already done the progressive. Now we have to go back and kind of lock it in somehow. So I think there could be more protests that are like their final time of protesting to get their message across. So just let's kind of pay attention to that. So even in your own lives, go back to what you've started and see how you can either finish it or dump it out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Friday the 20th, we have Mercury making a trine to Uranus. So, this is the next. I like this one. I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is to, continue to speak what you're discovering. It's like your conversations are exciting and yet radical. So you still have time to come up with these ideas for the next couple of years, but almost no more new information. Go back and do some more research and on some of the information you already have.
Yeah. And, write down the aha ideas that you might get tomorrow while Mercury is Cazimi, and kind of pull out the list again when Mercury is trine Uranus and say, which of these jump out at me in terms of this is damn brilliant?
Right. And I think for me, I think it's my Mexico staycation or stay retreat, whatever that is. Sunday, the 22nd, we better pop here. This is Mars making a trine to Uranus. And I call this Sisyphus. Do we remember Sisyphus, who was put to the Elysian fields, who literally had to push up a ball up a mountain every day? and he would get to his achieved goal, and then he'd be achieve, and the ball would roll back down the mountainside, and he'd have to push it back up. So it's like, what are you pushing uphill? I bet you get there, that you may have some surprise help pushing this ball boulder up a hill. And if you're not getting surprise help, ask for it.
And this is my favorite day in August. But it's because of all of it. Um, Mercury trine Uranus and the full moon all on the same day. And the full moon is conjunct Jupiter. So it's a really nice looking chart that I like. But it's hard to weigh which is cooler, Mars trine Uranus or the full moon conjunct Jupiter. I'm really kind of torn. I like the Mars Uranus energy for getting big breakthroughs. And maybe you'll find those with the full moon conjunct Jupiter, that you can really go, oh, wow, this really could be big, couldn't it? Um,
That's
in a,
how I read it. I called it, do you, like,
yeah,
do you, like, you are the one that can reach the masses. There's a strong possibility. I also want to mention that this full moon is at 29 degrees of Aquarius. That might sound familiar because this is the second full moon in Aquarius. Last month we had on July 23rd, which is like this month, but we had the first full moon at 1 degree of Aquarius, and now we have the 29 Aquarius. This is not a blue moon, because that has to happen in the same month. And one's happening July 23rd and the other one's happening in August 22nd. Now, I want to mention about the sky watch here. Watch the sky in the morning. If you can get up early morning, even when the sun's up. When the sun comes up, the moon and Jupiter will be setting. So it's a really cool moon set, Jupiter set, sunrise. This is a day that I'm waking up. It's a Sunday morning. You can do it to watch the sky. Hopefully it's bright and clear. And a little bit later that day, we got the sun leaving Leo and moving into the next sign of Virgo. And you know what? I did call this, you put a dimmer on the light. It's leaving its home sign, where it's masculine, it's a fire fixed, where we know how to shine, and it goes into this earth mutable and feminine nocturnal placement. So now we need adjustment to get moving.
And once again, pay attention, the sun moving from its own sign of Leo, where it's incredibly strong, into Virgo, which is more behind the scenes than Leo likes to be. Pay attention to how the energy shifts when the sun makes this transition, leaving its strong sign and moving into Virgo, where the sun is like, okay, I bought all my pencils back in mid-August, and now it's time to go to school. Okay, get the routine back together. Whatever that is, here we go. And play days are over. The sun is out of Leo. It's time to get back into a routine.
Right. It's like, get the sweaters out. Things are getting a little bit cooler. And you're going to feel this. So make note of it on your cheat sheet on this day. All right. Monday, the 23rd, we have Venus making a trine to Saturn. I like this. I like this day. You know, Venus is the goddess of art, beauty, and relationships. And she's in her own sign of Libra, where she really wants to make connections. She wants fairness. She wants diplomacy. She wants justice. And she's very comfortable here, sweet and charming. She is making this twice a year trine to Saturn, of ease and harmony. So, and Saturn is trying to help her stabilize, right? So Saturn is here saying, you know, hey, you too can establish support with and from a loved one. This is a really good time to make a commitment.
And from a financial point of view, Saturn is there to help Venus make good financial decisions, make a good financial plan. It's really easy to do that with when Venus is trine Saturn, to take a look at your finances and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It would also be a really great time to invest in art with Venus in its own sign of Libra. So
Jewels or diamonds or jewels or.
yeah, yeah. So
I want to make a side note here. Mars goes into his beams, which means he goes into his under the beams of the sun. So which may be good because Mars is a malefic. So things seem to be kind of cooler and calmer, maybe right around this time. But let's go to Tuesday, the 24th. We have Mercury making that opposition to Neptune. Patterns of vision. Your thinking must and can take shape. It doesn't need to be perfect or understood. Let it roam a bit to formalize a vision. We got Mercury very, very strong in his own sign and domicile and exaltation, opposing Neptune, who's in his modern rulership of Pisces. So it's like Mercury in Virgo wants to be very precise and clear and on point and, on time. And Neptune really doesn't care. It's about visioning. Oh, I want to do this. What about that? And you look down and go, oh, I've missed my plane. So I guess I have to vision it instead of going to the beach.
yeah, and on top of it, the moon is void of course. Early morning through 2 o'clock in the afternoon, basically Central Time. So really, nothing in the morning that you think of is probably going to happen anyway. So like take the morning off, be one with uh, your imagination, that sort of thing. And the downside of Mercury opposite Neptune is that it's really easy for you or others to say things that aren't really true. Um, and so you have to be aware of people misstating things or deliberately misstating things and trying to deceive you with Mercury opposite Neptune.
Then we go to Thursday, the 26th, and Mercury is making a trine to Pluto. Ideas that have power, oomph, because, power, you could call it. I wrote, stay to this form. It really wants to intensely put some power around your thoughts.
Mhm. Absolutely. I think it's a day for really powerful messages. If you have something to say to someone, um, this is the day to say it. If you have an important meeting that you need to schedule, this is the day to schedule it. And it's either that you have something really important and powerful to say, or you have to speak and communicate and get messages to powerful people. Um, Either way, Mercury trine Pluto supports that. Um, with Pluto retrograde, it could be, once again, a previous message, a previous crowd of people. You're trying to bring your point home that you've pitched before, do it again. Um, but a really nice time for that. Um, and in the news with Mercury trine Pluto, be on the lookout for secrets to come out. Things you didn't know, like, oh my God, look at that. That could happen around this time.
But if you think about it too, that the 26th, that we're with that idea, say something that you need to say it if you see it kind of thing. Because that 24th that we were saying about watching gossip or watching untrue statements that are being told, it could be if you hear a falsity somewhere, you may sit on it for 2 days here and say, you know what, I need to make that phone call. I really need to clear that up. There was a misunderstanding here, or I need to tell Susie Q that that's not cool to be talking about other people's business, something like that, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it could come in as a personal attack to your surrounding loved ones or yourself that you have to now say in a very nice way. This is not icky.
Yeah.
But just say, oh, that's not really fair. That's not cool. I really don't want to hear that in my ears.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then on Monday, this is the final day, Alex, just so you know, it's the final day, the 30th. We have Mercury moving out of his own exaltation and domicile and moving into Libra. So this is about fair trade. Because Mercury does represent, communication, but it also represents commerce, trade, sales, negotiations, agreements. And so deals, so this is about making decent deals. This could be, very appropriate, nice diplomatic arrangements going on.
Yeah. And, Mercury and once again, it's moving out of its own sign. So there will be like a little down shift of, oh, damn, I'm not in my own sign anymore. I'm in Venus's sign now. But that's okay. I like Venus and Venus is friendly. And so, okay, I'll be friendly too. Um, so I don't think it'll be as rough as
Mm.
other sign changes.
And
Um,
because Venus is there, she's like
yeah,
preparing for her friend Mercury to come visit. So sometimes Venus is a complete different sign when Mercury moves into the sign of Venus, Libra or Taurus. But here it's like, oh, I've prepared for you.
yeah,
Let's have great conversations and great tea or great wine.
very pleasant. Um, Win-win. You know,
So,
Libra is the scale. And so, when you're talking about things with Mercury and Libra, it's about finding the benefit for everyone. The win-win balance.
and two, the visual, the sky, the night sky, you'll be able to see them together. So the sun goes down and you'll be able to see Venus and Mercury hanging out together in the same part of the sky. So you'll get that kind of, sometimes we forget, as humans, not just astrologers, that looking down, at our thing and our next thing and our forward thing, do we look up at the night sky? So I'm really, really wanting to push that for you this month, is to look up at the night sky. Yes, there's a bunch of constellations up there and fixed stars, but it's the planets that I'm talking about right now. I know Sheila, I know you're doing that. But you'll be able to see these two in the sky by the end of the month, and you'll get a nod. Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
to be very pleasant in my thoughts and communications and in all my fair trade. Go buy fair trade. That would be a really nice nod to these two planets.
Mhm. Agreed. And 2 days before that, so we'll be under influence a little bit. Saturday, September 28th, we'll do this again. Be there or be square for the September outlook on Saturday, August 28th at 10 o'clock.
Any questions? Thanks, Shelley, for your comment. That's beautiful that you love the information we share and the way we share it. And it's probably because you know our personalities pretty well. You've been with us for years. Any questions anybody have? Is this your first time here? I'd like to know that. I know Alex and our Crystal are making a lot of new posts, and there's new things on Instagram. So if you're not on our Instagram, Intention Beads, check it out. We do, if not, when I do something every day, that there's something going on in the sky, and I give you little tidbits. Yeah. Oh, it's on your birthday. Shelley, we're doing the September forecast. Well, maybe I'll have a candle somewhere and I'll eat the cupcake that I'll make you. Yes.
Okay. Yay.
Yes. Thank you, Sheila. I'm sure you're out with your telescopes, as am I, looking at the sky. So no questions. Okay.
Okay. Have a great August, everybody.
Happy day, and watch and just sit in your ideas tomorrow for the Kazemi.
Mhm.
All right,
All right. Take care.
everybody. Bye-bye.